Welcome to the C-Suite Mentor, the place where you will learn the tools, strategies, and mindset to scale your business sustainably and build a lasting legacy. I'm your host, Theresa. As a fellow CEO, I understand what it takes to scale a business to 7 and multiple 8 figures. It's not necessarily what you might think. It requires a complete shift in how you think, strategize, and execute key actions in your business. My mission is to help CEOs step back into the driver's seat of their business by optimizing their operations, empowering their team, and staying in total alignment with their big vision. So, are you ready to exchange everything that hasn't worked for strategies that will? You're in the right place, so let's go. Hello, and welcome back to the C-Suite Mentor podcast. I wanted to talk today about what it really means to be a visionary leader and why it's important to be a visionary leader in a small business, and how being a visionary in a small business actually can lead to local economic growth and really national economic growth. So let's dig into this first topic of visionary leader. And before we even go there, if you've been a listener of my podcast for some time now, you know that I am super passionate about making sure that local businesses, small businesses stay healthy because they really are the backbone of our economy. I talk about it all the time. It has been my mission. It is something that I believe in to my core. And I believe in it because I believe, number one, if we build healthier businesses on the inside, we can fix what's going on in the outside. So in our community, in our society, and ultimately in the world. Number two, I also believe that if we fix Main Street, we can repair Wall Street. So, and we're going to get into why local businesses really are the backbone of the economy and really support a local economy and keep it healthy. So let's talk first about what a visionary leader is. Now, I'm not going by textbook definition. This is my own, what a visionary leader is. People talk about it all the time. I'm going to talk about it how I see it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about why local businesses, how they really support the economic growth locally, but also nationally, statewide, and then how the two go together. So let's start with what really is a visionary leader. And here's how I see it. Visionary leaders are people who can see beyond current circumstance. They are people who can see a vision for the future beyond what anybody else can see. They are people who, so that is that they're able to cast that wide vision. They're able to then also not only cast the vision and see a vision beyond what exists today, but they're also able to explain the vision and what they want to do and get people to align with it, even though they don't know all the steps. They don't know the how. They just know that this is the vision. This is the difference that I want to create. This is the future that we want to build. And they're able to explain it in a way that motivates people, that inspires people, and helps them align to it so that they can co-create it with them. But beyond that, in my mind, a visionary leader is someone who has an extreme amount of resiliency. Radical resilience is what I call it. They know what that 6th gear is. That 6th gear that kicks in to say, when stuff is failing, when stuff is seems to be crumbling down around them and other people see it that way, they don't. They're able to look at it and see a challenge, see a struggle, see adversity, but they're also able to have that radical resilience that they are going to get back up and keep going. They're able to, and they have that radical resilience. They have that 6th gear, that intuition that they use to make decisions, that intuitive decision making, which a lot of times gets downplayed. But they use that intuition. They have that connection to what they believe is right, and they're constantly asking better questions. Is this the right opportunity for me? Is this door one I need to knock on? And they really follow that intuition when making critical decisions, um, and really decisions as far as the path of the vision. They do also have the ability to dial in on their emotions. They don't let situations that come up with difficult employees, or, like I said, challenges where things don't work, things fail, whatever impacts are happening on the outside of the business that they really don't have control over, they don't completely let that take them down. They don't make it mean anything about them or the business or what's possible. They're able to really regulate those emotions. And by being able to regulate those emotions, they're able to manage their energy very, I'm going to say healthy, manage their energy healthier, I don't know, healthier management of energy. But they're able to, again, have certain things set up, triggers, physical triggers, things that show up on their phone, reminders, whatever it is to say that gives them some affirmations so that they're constantly generating good energy that needs, that the business needs so that it can keep moving goals forward, keep moving projects forward, keep moving tasks forward, even when, like I said, outside impacts come their way. So that's how that's my, like, in a nutshell definition of a visionary leader. And when I look at visionary leaders, I mean, yes, there are visionary leaders that are in big businesses. Absolutely. But I've seen many more visionary leaders when it comes to small businesses, local businesses. And those visionary leaders that can see a vision beyond what is happening in our current circumstance or what is happening in their current circumstance is important, because that's what fuels economic growth. And we're going to talk about these 5 things that actually help small businesses to fuel economic growth, and why it's important to be a visionary leader in a local business. So the first thing that we're going to dig into is visionary leaders and small businesses foster innovation. They have the ability, because they can see beyond current circumstance. Small businesses and local businesses are the epitome of what it means to really have that American dream, to have a dream, to be, and I know there are things that we need to work on as far as getting more funding for people of color, getting more investment opportunities and different things. But I do believe wholeheartedly that small businesses and being in this country, we do have the ability to take an idea, an idea or a dream, and start to put action into place to make that dream and make that idea become a reality. Yes, there are things, and we have come a long way, but we have a long way to go to make sure that women have the ability to do things the same as men. And like I said, people of color, women of color, Latinos, that everyone has that there is equality, in being able to get funding, in being able to secure loans, in being able to secure investors, whatever it is. We need to work on that. We've come a long way, but we do have a ways to go. But however, so I'm going to back up. So I just want to just put that out there and say it. But I do believe that small businesses, really, it gives people a chance in this country to take a dream, to work towards that dream, to build something that may not have existed before, or take something, whether it's a franchise, you want to open up a retail shop from scratch, take something that does exist and make it even better, put their own unique spin on it. And it's easier for small businesses and local businesses to take a concept and to test out new ways of doing things, because they have a lot more flexibility. They're able to be a lot more agile. They're able to be a lot more nimble. So they can reinvent themselves faster. They can come up with an idea and get it out there faster because they don't have to jump through all these hoops like you do in corporate America. They also don't have that same, like, they're okay if they put something out, it doesn't work, and they pivot because they want to keep their dream going. So, plus also with small businesses and local businesses, you do employ people from different backgrounds. They employ people that have different experiences. So, really embracing that diversity, which is one of the key pillars that I teach about bringing diverse thinking into your business. An entrepreneurial mindset has very diverse, very innovative thinking, that entrepreneurial mindset, that entrepreneurial way of thinking, that entrepreneurial way of looking at things. So when we're able to have diverse thinking and diverse backgrounds and diverse experiences built into our business, we're able to foster innovation faster. And a visionary leader believes in diversity and agility and having those diverse experiences, those diverse backgrounds, and that diverse thinking built into the business, because they know when we do that, that's how we're able to bring innovation. That's how we're able to look at problems and find solutions faster. That's how we're able to test new ways of doing things. The big box stores, let's just take retail, for example. The big box stores, it takes longer to implement a new idea. It takes longer to implement out a brand. It takes longer to make changes because they're big, because you have different things that you have to go through in order to get something passed. With a small business, you can look at something, a small retail store, you can look at something and say, we want to try this product line, or we want to shift this in our brand. And they can do it pretty fast, but also course correct pretty fast. So it just gives them a lot of that flexibility and that nimbleness to reinvent themselves when they need to course correct and gracefully pivot when they need to. Second thing is that they create jobs and they drive that economic growth. So I read an interesting article, and I read all the time, but I've read multiple articles like this. And I think this was in Business Insider. But in 2019, 44% of the economic growth was generated from small businesses. Interesting, right? Post-pandemic, 60% of the jobs that were created, that have been created by small businesses. So we have the ability to create jobs. How do small businesses have that ability? Well, small business, someone has a dream, someone has a goal, someone's a visionary leader. They open up a business, they create jobs, right? They might not necessarily have the capability of doing accounting in-house or doing marketing in-house. So what do? They, oh my gosh, I lost my word. They get that service from outside of their business. So they're employing contractors. They contract it out. Okay. So they have the ability to create new jobs. And as more small businesses pop up in an area, and I've seen this in my hometown, as more small businesses, more business owners take that risk and put their dream out there, step into that uncomfortableness of trying something new. The more small businesses do that, guess what? The more they're hiring people from the local community, the more those jobs are being created. I've also seen it where small businesses, depending on the type of business that you are, I've seen it with small laboratories, small clinical research companies that do testing, that pop up and do testing and work with corporate to fulfill parts of that may have been cut or downsized from corporate to fulfill those parts. So they create jobs for a local community, and more jobs that they create or that they consult, they contract out, the more people will have money to be able to spend. And again, it creates economic growth. The more that these small businesses are creative and are innovative and maybe partner, do some consulting work for a larger organization. And again, I come from the laboratory world. I've seen it time and time again, and I see it more and more these days, just with a lot of the cuts that pharmaceutical companies have gone through. So they create jobs and they fuel that economic growth based on the innovation that they're creating. Number three is that they fuel progress. They fuel progress in society. They fuel progress in the problems that we've created as a society. So I look at it as small businesses, small local businesses are really good and can navigate adversity easily, or not easily, but they can navigate it a lot better. Why? Number one, they don't have all of those hoops to jump through. Number two, again, the diverse thinking behind the businesses and behind the leaders of the business is just different. So they have the ability to look at adversity and navigate it. So when the pandemic happened, yes, was it hard for small businesses? Absolutely. But they were able to shift and pivot very quickly to go from live experience to online, or to do certain things to keep revenue coming in. And they're also able to look at what have we done in our business that has held us back, and in our community, or what has the community done that potentially has held the area back, and how can we do things differently or better to grow our community, or to grow our staff, or to grow our idea, or to grow, whatever it is, to make inroads into areas that we haven't been able to do before. Because if you think about it, things are going good, 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 good. Most of those big businesses don't necessarily want to look at anything and see how they can make them better. Then when adversity happens, then it's kind of like, oh, we need to backtrack. Oh, we need to make cuts. They always want to make cuts. You always hear about cuts, cutting the wrong things too. That's a whole other episode. But with small businesses, they're able to look at society, to look at where we've made mistakes, to look at where a community has done things that have actually held them back and not move them forward. So they have the ability, because they are so flexible and agile. And again, going back to being a visionary leader, they have the ability to look at these things and make changes, course correct, and pivot so that we can continue to fuel the progress of society, of advancements in infrastructure, advancements in the way that we do things in our business. And really, advancements, like it could be advancements in the world. So, but let's just kind of, I'll bring it back, land this plane. They have the ability and the knowledge to fuel progress that may have been slowed down because there are so many things that you have to jump through in a corporate setting. Number four is they support the vibrancy and the level of health in a community. So here's the thing. Interesting that actually 66% is what I've seen. 66% of small businesses donate back to charity. I think every small and local business that I've ever worked with, they all have some kind of a charitable element to what they do. They either donate a portion of their sales every month to a different organization, or they work with artisans that they end up giving back to, that are fair trade, or belong to different organizations. So they do things to make sure that, number one, they're giving back to the community, because if the community stays healthy, their business stays healthy. But then also they do things to give back to other organizations or people that they work with. There is an underlying, and I believe this to be true in many small businesses, there is an underlying that collectively, if we all do good, individually we do good. So helping each other out and coming together. Now, there are things in communities, different groups that I've seen. I'm sorry to say this, but chamber organizations where they don't necessarily foster that, but individual businesses who come together, who work together in a community, they do it because they want the community to be healthy. They want to make sure that that community can thrive. They even, I've seen it where different businesses, like they actually employ. So if this person hires a marketing firm and they really like it, then they talk about it with the rest of the businesses in the community. And then that marketing organization ends up working with multiple people because they all want to help each other. All right. So they want to make sure that the community stays thriving. I've seen it where businesses have gone out for one reason or another, and a community just absolutely goes downhill. I know in the state of Pennsylvania, a little while ago, they had a whole resurgence project, the Main Street. It was a Main Street resurgence, where they were going into these places that communities have had gone backwards and weren't so healthy. And they've gone in and they've improved streets and improved, storefronts and improved what was going on in these different areas to elevate the community again and to get these businesses thriving, to get that community thriving. Because if a community thrives, then the broader area thrives and the people in that community thrive. And then there'll be money to spend and there'll be things to do and there'll be jobs to have. So they want to make sure that either they're donating back, they're giving back in some way. I know a lot of local businesses who get involved in like Habitat for Humanity to make sure that people have healthy homes to live in, to make sure that the communities stay healthy and safe for people. So definitely have that giving back spirit, that charitable spirit. Number 5 is they highly support sustainability. And sustainability is another key pillar that I talk about in my business growth formula when I work with my high level one-on-one clients. Sustainability is typically about people, planet, profits. I talk about it we want to make sure that we're building for the future. So we're building for the people. We want to take care of our planet and making sure that we leave this world better than we found it. And we also want to take care of that wealth piece of it so that we can put money back into the community and make sure that the community is continuing to thrive. So this is when we do that. Local businesses, they are the first to jump to really make sure that they're doing what they can to support the environment. They make sure that they're doing what they can, again, to give back to different organizations to keep the community safe and healthy, and really just building for the future, not just building for today. Building for today is focusing on profits first. Building for the future is focusing on what can we do to make this place a better place? What can we do to make society better, healthier, more diverse, have more equity, get rid of social injustice that we've messed up for all these years. So we focus on those things first, then we focus on profits, because the profits will come when we focus on building for the future and taking care of the people inside of our business so we can take care of outside of our business. So when we look at this, small businesses foster innovation. They create jobs and drive economic growth. And we can see that because they're the ones that are really fueling the job market. They fuel progress in society. They fuel progress in innovating and making business better. and how they do business better. They are the ones that will do innovations in restaurants or innovations in accounting firms or innovations in law firms. They do things differently because they have the ability to be resilient and to be agile, to have that diverse thinking. They don't just look at the law industry and say, well, every other law office does this. So that's what we have to do. They think out of the box, think outside the box. As a friend of mine says, they challenge the norm. They challenge the norm and they're not afraid to break all the rules. And they just do it the way that they think is right, taking into consideration keeping the community healthy, which is supporting the vibrancy and health of a community, as well as supporting sustainability and making sure that we're building for the future. They are not afraid to challenge the norm. They are not afraid to break all the rules and carve their own path. And in fact, they celebrate it. Why? Because they're visionary leaders. They are the type of leader that, especially once we fix some of the things inside small businesses, when we have a visionary leader or when we can become visionary leaders, we can take all of this and exponentially grow it. We can have more small businesses open. We can have more local businesses open that will keep the community thriving. But we have to learn to be visionary leaders first. We have to learn how we can see beyond our current circumstances, how to be resilient, how to paint this vision of where we want to go and what we want to do, even though we don't know how we're going to get there. And we build that right team around us so that we can co-create it together. We manage our energy so that we're constantly bringing good energy into the business. And we also know how to regulate our emotions and not make situations and circumstances mean anything about us. That's a visionary leader. That's why we need visionary leaders in small businesses, because when you have the two together, you can be unstoppable. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Until next week, have a great rest of your week. And let's make sure that small businesses and local businesses stay around, because they are the backbone of the economy. They are what fuels the growth of society. They are what fuels the growth of our economy. They are what will take care of people. And when we take care of people inside of our business, we can take care of people outside of our business. And when we focus on fixing Main Street so that we have more visionary leaders, we have healthier businesses. That's how we can repair Wall Street. Okay, have a good rest of your week. Hey there, thank you so much for listening. If you found value on the show, please follow the podcast so you never, ever miss an episode. And I would love, love, love if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify for me. Even better, share the show with a fellow business owner ready to step fully into their CEO leadership role. Because right now, more than ever, the world really needs next level leaders. And by the way, did you know you can text me all your questions and get real-time feedback? You absolutely can. Just text the word CEO to me at 610-215-2838 to get connected. One last goodie for you before I go. If you're ready to scale your business and have a co-creator working right by your side, my C-Suite Mentor Program may be perfect for you and your possible new second in command. Just visit thecsuitementor.com to get started.